Very, very warm. Good evening. This is Arunava Chaudhuri. You're live on my YouTube channel, Arun Foot. It is July the 2nd, 2026. It's another Indian football and more discussion currently with the World Cup on one side going on and things happening in Indian football. So we'll speak of all of these matters today and look forward to, yeah, as I say, discuss you all those things and see where we stand. Once again, as always, at the start of a live show, please do like Arun Foot here on YouTube. Visit my other social medias, visit arunfoot.com. And also, yeah, do ensure that, one second, there is, yeah, sorry. And if you haven't seen, done a video earlier today regarding the Z Group, or Z as they now call themselves, picked up the rights for the German Bundesliga in the Indian market. Did something yesterday on the FIFA World Cup and Germany's exit and other things. Neil D'Souza ground and other things. Do watch those videos and support the channel. So I am good. Hope you're doing good as well. Vikram, good to see you back. I'm fine. Rajiv Van La Para is not connected to India by any means. Still wants to take OCI card. Okay. Who's saying that? Show him. Do you know that? Have you got a confirmation that Rajiv Van La Para has no connection to India? This is news to me. That you're saying it. You know, what's your on the penalty given to Bayern in the dying seconds of the match and very 50-50? No, it's a clear-cut penalty. Tielemans is being fouled on the Achilles, and yeah, so therefore, um, I don't even know why the referee takes 90 seconds to decide on it. There's a clear-cut touch. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So to me, I don't know why you're saying it's a 50-50. I think there have been others which are 50-50, which are given, or 50-50, which are not given. But that one to me, the foul on Tielemans, at least to me, was a clear-cut penalty. So I don't know what the discussion is all about. नरेश is saying इंग्लिश टीम को देखकर ऐसा लगता है कि ये चैंपियन टीम है और बनेगी. ओके, आई डोंट नो कैसे आप ये वाला सोच आपके पास है, मेरे पास तो नहीं है. इंग्लैंड अच्छा नहीं खेला कल. एंड इन द एंड यू नो सो उसके लिए आई डोंट नो किस 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 सोच से आपसे बोल रहे हो जो इंग्लैंड चैंपियन टीम लगता है. ऑफ कोर्स यू कैन से मे बी चैंपियंस लक उसके पास है. ऑफ कोर्स यू हैव हैरी केन, बट अच्छा नहीं खेला. राइट. आई कल 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 रात में मैं बोल रहा था जो वो वाला मैच में जो एक्स्ट्रा टाइम होता है तब तो फेयर, मेरे मेरे हिसाब से दैट वुड हैव बीन द फेयरेस्ट ऑफ ऑल. वो जो वाला मैच एक्स्ट्रा टाइम में जाते हैं. सो यू नो या बट वो मैच खत्म हो गया आफ्टर 90 minutes. Harry Kane was the difference. So therefore, yeah, let's wait and see. Zia serious interest in football, but they need to be quicker, otherwise slots will be full. Okay. I don't know if they're serious about Indian football. Where do you see that seriousness show? I'm not sure, right? Because Z's serious about football. Yes. Are they serious for Indian football? I don't know. Have you heard anything that they're in the running, in the bidding? So therefore, for me, I don't know. They were there last time around when conversations happened, and then they opted out. They were not really interested. So to me, I don't know where they're interested, and slots filling up. Yeah, that's also always a problem for a broadcaster. Uh, you know, uh, you know, and to me, so therefore, we'll have to wait and see. That they will surely be interested in the ISL or IFL or both of the rights. Let's see if they make a formidable bid for it. They've now picked up the Bundesliga rights. The story is linked here. Have a look at it, and we'll have to wait and see what they do. Right. So at the moment, I'm not clear where they're going with their football plans, but maybe that will become clearer in the coming days and weeks. To We'll have to say. Rajiv himself said in an interview in 2015 that he's not connected to India. Rajiv Gandhi, Congress Party leader, visited Suriname. That's why his mother kept name Rajiv. Okay. Again, I don't know, Sean, what's the source? Um, uh, I remember, I don't know when that conversation happened. There was quite a few of them of these Surinamese where there was a link to India. Question is, what is this? Was it third or fourth generation Indians that is connected to India? Again, if he's asked in 2015, are you connected to India? He most probably would have said no because per se he didn't have a connection. Now we are in 2026. Situations are different. And you have a lot of these players who are playing in this World Cup at the moment who have grown up in the systems of a Germany, of a France, of a Netherlands, of a Belgium, of an England, who are then playing for the country of their parents or grandparents, right? Think about yesterday, um, you know, that there were Congolese players of English origin who played up to the under 21 levels for England, right? So let's see. Do you think Portugal win today? Both teams are bad, I think. Mike, I don't think both teams are bad, but it's one of those 50-50 matches where, on a better day, Portugal will, on a better day, Croatia will win. So, yeah. So, therefore, for me, it's one of those 50-50 matches. It depends who is better on the day. Mexico overwhelming favorites against England in the home ground. I don't think overwhelming favorites. I think overwhelming Hitesh is a little bit of a big term. They are. I would favor them a little bit more over England, given that they have home advantage and given the Azteca Stadium is an exceptional venue. Sadly, one of the stadiums that I have never been to, but I would love to be there. But yeah, so therefore, I think you know 51-49 is what I would go for with Mexico. Maybe even 55-45, but to me, yeah, um, they are favorites against England just by that bit. Ranjit Bajaj literally crying his eyes out on the podcast after hearing the news about the little EOCI and OCI peer players sports passport. Sure, let him. Let people say what they want, you know. So therefore, for me, it's yeah. I think things are going to happen. Whatever XYZ are saying. So let's wait and see what happens. So Rajiv Van La Para is Indian origin or not? Maybe enough. Yeah, there is some Indian connect. Don't tell me what the connect is. Then I would have to ask Rajiv Van La Para what the connect is. But there is, I don't know if it's the grandparents or great grandparents or what the link is. But there is some Indian heritage in him. So yeah. And again, the name is another thing. So in Suriname, a lot of people have Indian roots. Some of them even don't even know that they have Indian roots. Suriname, Trinidad and Tobago have many players who came from UP. Sugar farmers. Hitesh, don't say have many players, have many people. And not only UP Bihar, there's certain people from Andhra. There are people even from other parts as well. Yeah. East Bengal have agreed to sign Antonio Lopez Habas, but I don't know which company has signed him. I don't know if its deal is completed. Okay. So there can't be a deal because East Bengal don't have new owners yet, right? So you know, uh, so therefore, let's wait and see. It's East Bengal FC. So then let's wait and see. If Rajiv Vanlapara wants now to play for India, why oppose it? Forget about his past statement. As soon as he's winning and will benefit from it, let him. Raj perfectly said. And this is something which I realize that some people don't have this understanding that people in their lives change opinions. I remember when I first spoke to Michael Chopra. Michael Chopra was 17. I think that was 2003. Champions League, Bayer Leverkusen versus Newcastle United. He even made his debut for Newcastle in that Champions League game. And Michael Chopra at 17 clearly said to me, you know what? I know I've got Indian roots, but I want to play for England. He said that, you know? And so therefore, you know, um, and he said that a few times to me over the years until in 2009 he changed opinion. Bob Houghton was able to convince him, said, okay, yeah, I'm interested too, because Bob Houghton was trying to build a team for the AFC Asian Cup 2011. And Chops then said, you know what? Yeah, now I might be interested. In 2010 he came, he watched India lose 9-1, you know? Um, and um, and the problems, issues was that the AIFF couldn't get him a passport, right? As a non-resident Indian, it would have taken him 12 years to get a passport. So therefore, it didn't happen, right? Still confused what to watch on Sunday. Brazil or Mexico, both are good match, but timing is not possible. Watch both. What should I watch? Suggestions? Oh, only one can watch. Why can't you watch both, Shanlata? I don't know. I don't understand that. Um, I- um, um, yeah, Brazil, Norway, Mexico, England could be two cracker of games. Yeah, decide which suits you more from a timing, right? If World Cup so interesting, yeah, Shumit, it's picked up in last few days. I don't want a guy to come and play for my country when you already said he's not linked to India. It's just PR done by Rajiv just to gain attention, followers, and also big fat check. Ram, what's the problem? Again, what is your problem? If Rajiv says that, people change opinions, you know. So therefore, yeah, again, it's your statement makes no sense. It is utterly useless. It is utterly useless. It is utterly unrealistic from a world perspective that someone who said 11 years ago, oh, you know what, I don't want to play for India. Okay, take it. I don't have Indian connections. Yeah, might have found it, right? Um, so therefore, again, if people say it's just PR, of course it's PR. Everything is PR. This whole story about OCIs, PIOs, about players, this, that. Hey, if you're saying under 23 should be playing at the senior level, even that is PR. But people say that is PR. No, they won't. So stop this. Again, if someone wants to play for India and there is a pathway and the road, we should welcome him with open arms. If he's going to play for us or not, that is a secondary question, right? Because you will not have those 19-year-olds who are going to be ready to play for you because the AFF and the government of India are not as welcoming. Look at what Bangladesh or what Pakistan and others are doing. Forget Pakistan. Look at what Bangladesh is doing. Why are they attracting under 20 players? Because the Bangladesh Football Federation is making an effort. Yeah. So, so therefore, all these stories that you guys want to create, and this guy's too old, oh, this is that, of course, that's how the world works. Listen, we are in professional football. Even if Rajiv as Connect gets passport is yours, he's 35, but he played till 50. He's all Indian football fans are excited for him to be national that too for so long process. Shanlata, the question is, it's not about if and when he gets it. He's 35, yeah, okay, right? It's a problem. Danny Bath theoretically is also too old, right? The question is, when is all this whole process going to be finished, right? And so therefore, for me, we have to wait and see. And then we can pick and choose. Anyone interested to play for us should be, yeah. So let's wait and see what happens. Michael Chopra wanted to play for India, but he was not ready to give us passport. Show him who's telling you that. Show him who's telling you that. So it just, I don't know who's feeding you these infos, but again, the infos are wrong. Chops was willing to give us passport, but there was a question of work permit. There were other things which were linked to it. In 2009-10, Michael Chopra, if he was playing in India, it would have taken him 5 years to get a passport. 5 years. It took Arata 5 years to get the passport. If Chops was playing in England, it would have taken him 12 years. Do you understand that? So even if he gives up his passport, it makes no sense. Get your infos right before you come to a conversation with me. Sorry, right? Because that is, a lot of people talk about things and they don't know because they were not around in those days. Even if people were around, they think they were around. Were they part of conversations? No, they were not. So know the facts, or if you don't know, my humble request, a lot of people are spreading wrong information on social media, on podcasts and content creations and whatever's happening because people don't know, right? So if you know, go ahead. If you don't know, don't put out a statement like this, which is factually wrong. Ronaldo and Modric want to goodbye to FIFA World Cup tomorrow morning. Big for both. Yeah. Shanata, it's end of an era. And it's, well, Portugal has a very talented young bunch ready to take over. For Croatia, most probably the rebuilding will take longer, yeah, from their golden generation. I've heard from some analysts that some don't want to disclose the origins from media due to XYZ reasons. Yeah, Raj, again, being Indian today is not as good as it was 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago. The respect of being an Indian or being of Indian origin is much less than it used to be. And it is, I mean, a mainstream German media, they're making fun on India not being at the World Cup. I've never heard so many people speak about it. Why is India not at the World Cup? You know? So that's the reality. Raji's already 35. Until gets his passport, he turns 38. Then how will he help Indian football? There's a serious chance of us having to play round one and then just imagine us getting knocked out in round one itself. Shoham, the question is not about if Rajiv at 35 is good or bad, if he wants us or not. Rajiv is showing an interest to play in the ISL, right? He's showing an interest in ISL. He says, listen, I'm interested maybe potentially, if there is a road, to consider myself playing for India, right? That's all he said. We then need to decide as the All India Football, sorry, not we, sorry, the All India Football, not you and I, the All India Football Federation, you know, needs to decide if this guy is good enough or not, even at his age. Can he add value? Because this whole thing about young players replacing the older ones is not working because they're not good enough for international football. There needs to be a realization for that. And Indian football fans do not want to realize that the younger players are worse than the older players. Have you seen from close quarters a warm up of an Indian team ever in your life? I have seen it for X number of times in the last 3 decades. And I sadly cannot speak about what I saw ahead of the Zimbabwe match. Because then, you know, we'll have to talk about that. A lot of young players need to actually end their careers now and stop playing football altogether. But hey, go and live in your, sorry, La La Land. Let anyone who's interested show their interest. When we pick them, that is when we will have to decide what it is. Luka Modric is not at his best. Hitesh is 41 and still playing. And he actually won the game for Croatia against Ghana the other day. So you can't say he's not at his best. Makes no sense. Jam football worked hard at the grassroots level. Now Japanese football is on par with European football. Sure, they're not. See, that's the end result, right? Sadly, Japan, right? Why? Japan at grassroots and youth level is doing very, very well. In the World Cup, at the group stage, They're doing well. At knockouts, they're a disaster. Five-time knockouts, matches even in winning positions. It's not the first time. They could have beaten Belgium. They could have now beaten Brazil in the last few World Cups. They're not over the line. Morocco is on par with European football because they can win knockout matches. That is the reality, right? Unless AIFF plays in ISL, he's not getting a paycheck. I assume that getting match fees from the national team, but it's nothing substantial. There is no match fee. Sasha, you get a daily allowance for a few hundred rupees. It's if someone is whoever plays international football around the world is not doing it for money. I think that is something also which people need to understand. National teams is about respect and honor. If you win something, in certain countries you get more, right? But in other countries you get little to nothing. Even with all the problems that supposes the Indian national football team has. Ask some of the African teams who are at the World Cup how they're being treated by their national federation or by their countries. Reality. 420 Grams today rolled out an insane podcast with a Supreme Court lawyer, Abik Chimney, discussing legality of sports passport. Lawyers seem to have a really deep knowledge about Indian football. Hannibal, the whole sports passport thing is a matter of the Indian Olympic Association and the sports ministry. If that will not come, India's bid to the Olympics is dead. Let me be very, very clear. Whatever all, you know, all Gyanis are saying and whatever is saying, right? Right? But this is something which is not about Indian football. I've said this now, I don't know how many times over the last few weeks, but nobody seems to listen, right? If India does not find a pathway of players playing and representing India at international level, then the bid for 2036 is dead. So the reality is that, and the question now is, how can they implement it? The government is looking at ways without allowing dual nationality, right? To get to that position of enabling athletes of origin to come and represent India. It's not football, it's about the Olympics. Don't forget that. That's why when I did a couple of weeks ago a video about the timeline, my timeline is 2 years. It is not about the next cycle of World Cup qualifiers. It's not about football. It is about Indian sports. This is bigger than Indian football. This is what has to be understood, right? You're literally supporting Rajiv, who's 35 years old. He's here to eat money of asset clubs. He will not help Indian football by any means. So you seem to know it better than me. So, okay, there's no point then of a discussion, right? Anyone who's coming to India for the money is eating the money, right? He's not helping Indian football. Yeah. So then even the players playing in the ISL who are Indians who are not good enough for the national team are eating money of the ISL, as per your logic, right? If people like Rajiv are showing interest in Indian football and saying, hey, listen, I'm interested. Do you understand that there are in the Netherlands a number of players of Surinamese, Guyanese, other origins who could be interested? Yeah. So he's a senior guy. If a guy like Luciano Narsing, for example, says, guys, try and play for India, it helps. But sorry, for you, hey, he wants to make money. Of course, if that is the way it is going to be, it is about telling the stories. How did Indonesia convince so many players to play for them? It was one, two, three guys they convinced. Others then thought, you know what, let's do that as well. That is the way, right? We want results and uplift of football quality. We should welcome whoever wants to play for us. Rajiv, Rajesh, sorry. Yes. First of all, that. And secondly, it is a question of also we need some guys with profile, right? Rajiv Van Lapara is someone with profile, right? It's the same when Michael Chopra in 2014 said, you know what, I'm interested to come and play ISL. He was on his way down, right? But the story was we could never tell the story of enabling PIOs and then OCIs to come to play for India because that door is closed, right? What's the way forward now? Management does not want to send teams to Asian Games. Most probably will be playing World Cup qualifiers round one. Orithro, Asian Games is another thing. What's the value of playing Asian Games? Are we giving the exposure to the right people? What happened last time around? Kalyan Chobe begged the government, and the government then decided to take it. And the government said to Kalyan, you know what? Gopit Singh Sandhu, Sandesh Chingan, Sunil Chhetri are playing. Right? It makes no sense. Send an under 21s. Don't even send the under 23s. Send the under 21s. Do we have an under 21s? We don't. What is the value of the Asian Games? The problem is that people are hyping up Asian Games, Olympics, this, that, everything. Listen, we missed the bus on Asian Cup and World Cup. That's the focus it should be. Last time around, the Asian Games happened a few weeks after the AFC Under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. And that campaign was a disaster. Why? Because the focus was on the Asian Games. So we need to live in the real world and not in the past. This is what a lot of people do. And we also need to live in the reality of where we stand today. How good or how bad our football is. Our football is bad. Our football is pathetic. If I like it, you like it, we like it or not. And we have to call it out. But the right decisions need to be made to make our football better. If our players, right, are not good enough at 21, 22, but they're getting better at 25, 26, that's the time where you need to get them into the national team, right? I've set this example again and again in the last few weeks that Vijay Varghese for me is a very good example. 4 years ago, Kerala Blasters B team, okay, Kerala League, got themselves into the ISL, didn't get time. Got more time, played a solid season, even ahead of Paramveer, you know. So that's the reality. So therefore, we need to figure out who is capable of playing international football, be it in an ISL, even IFL scenario. IFL, we don't have players. Right, so I see India government will again delay and some sports bars with small news will come in some months, take more to pass uncertain. No, it's not. Sharlata, this is in the background for the PMO, one of the biggest topics because they want to bid for the Olympics. Right? This is I don't think you understand the magnitude of this whole thing. Right? So for me, the point is very, very simple. Something will happen, but it will take time because it has to go its right path, you know, and then let's see what happens. But something will happen. It's just that we are so desperate for success in Indian football, right? That a lot of people are jumping onto any little chance that there is. And we have to be honest about it. We are not at that level where we want to be. And you know what? That is the reality of things. So, yeah, very, very difficult in my opinion, right? Hi, Rishabh, welcome back. I think you're right about 34, 5-year-old in the national team, but club football is an open market. If the buyer is willing to pay big money, is not his problem, is it? Exactly. The clubs, are looking at players, and if I look at some of the names that some of the clubs have been looking at in regard to OCIs, then I would say if Rajiv Vanla Para is an Indian origin player, then most probably he's one of the better ones. They're looking at players from fourth, fifth, sixth tier. Listen, he's still playing in second tier in Bershot in Belgium, right? He's better than most of the foreigners that there are in the ISL. From that, there are third, fourth division players from Spain, for example, or from the UK who've played in the last few years. But is he going to play national team or not? That's a totally different discussion. But if Rajiv comes to India, especially in the Netherlands, it will be a talking point. Just came watching Arjun Pandya's stream such interview recorded a lot to explain all the sports passport fiasco. Rushabh, the sports passport fiasco is the question. Is you're calling it already a fiasco? Is that shows to me that without having watched it, then there are people working on it in the background. They know their stuff. Let me just tell you that they know their stuff because I've dealt with them myself. So I know that this is being worked on from the right people. And there are people who are trying to scuttle it. And all these conversations that are happening because of football and because at some stage it came out. Listen, they could have done it calm and quietly, right? And these clubs just wasting their money on users who has past his prime form now. Shoham, again, and Simon, very right. Saw him play or just, yeah. Simon, very, 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 very good question to me, Shoham. Shoham, why are you so anti this guy? What has he done to you? You don't even know him. So all those 34, 35, 36-year-olds who've come to India in the last few years are users players, right? They're still better than the best crop that we have in India, right? Sad reality. If I like it, you like it, we like it. As I also like to say, right? And he's played at a level very few players, even in ISL level, have played, right? He's an established Dutch level player who's even played a certain level in the Premier League. So, yeah. Bangladesh football is doing better work. Football, whereas AIFF only knows how to change name while the actual work is zero. Yeah, sure. Sounds bad, but that's the reality. Because for me, the problem here is the AFF makes announcement, right? This whole thing, the Kalyan Chobe is sort of like, hey, listen, I'm involved in all of this. No, you're not. This is, um, this is a matter, as I say, of the IOA and the sports ministry. And there are people handling the matter who I know, they're serious, right? So biggest question now, do you think Germany's second goal was legit on goalkeeper foul? What do you think of Germany play? I think defense was shaking. Paraguay defended well. Germany also missed chance. Again, if you're asking me that question, then sorry. It's not a question. Of course it's legit. I said yesterday I'm very disappointed with Peluji Colina because a legend as a referee, but to me, but if he says that is not a goal, then we have a problem. Waldemar, and the funny one is, even though the goalkeeper falls down, he's trying to commit the foul on the defender, right? On the attacking player as a defender who's in his box, right? Waldemar Anton didn't do anything, right? Are we talking about that earlier corner where Leon Goretzka was being grabbed by the Paraguayan defender? What happened to that Waldemar foul? So Germany did not play a good game. Let's not uh, uh, um, let's not get into that. But with a little bit more luck and with good refereeing, I mean, the refereeing in the last few days has been pathetic. Let's be very, very clear, right? We talk about ISL referees. That's why I've given up on Indian referees saying, listen, why don't I criticize referees? Because they're universally, the referees are a problem, and VR is an added layer of a problem, right? Yesterday, Tielemans, we spoke about it at the start of the show. Yogi Tielemans is brought down. He's hit on the keys. Why is the referee watching it for 90 seconds again and again of the clip? It's like, you can see there is contact. Why are you taking so long? So, yeah, you will motivate other Indian origin players with Indian football. 700%. This is what needs to be understood. Rajiv Para is someone who's very well respected in European football. and other players will get to know the story, um, that helps. Nothing more, nothing less. Does he play for us? No, doesn't matter. If he has a story to tell back home in the Netherlands, hey, listen, guys, I'm playing now in India. I'm too old. I might not play for the national team, but for you, this might be a chance to play for the Indian national team. That is more than enough what he can do and what he can deliver. But you're looking at his age and saying, oh, it's too old, or no, he doesn't shouldn't play. Right. So as per your logic, then Messi shouldn't play, Ronaldo shouldn't play, Neuer shouldn't play, Modric shouldn't play, Muslera shouldn't play, this guy shouldn't play, that guy shouldn't play, Vozinha wouldn't be a hero. Yeah. So this has to be understood. This also, I also have to say one thing which is very clear to me. The OCI project is not a short-term project. It's a long-term project. If it starts, it will stay, and it most probably will get better in the next decade because there will be better quality players, right? For example, Indonesia tried to get Chaudhuri Reinders, the Man City midfielder, right? Indonesia wanted him, but he was Dutch, right? And Giannis said, you know what? Maybe I would have played for Indonesia if that option had come out, right? Vikas Dogaso has told to me, if there was an option in my younger days to maybe consider playing for India, right? I did not get the respect I thought I should get in France. Most probably I would have taken the option to play for India. Vikas never got the chance, right? So you have to understand that there is a storyline that I've always tried to create with OCI players or PIO players, origin players, to get them interested. Some of them do it themselves, some of them reach out, speak, but there are a lot of them who don't want to play for India. Yeah. So that's the point. I wait for the day you rant about Rajiv Broadband ISL clubs, it turns out to be a disaster. Sure, you haven't got the point, man. It's no point to discuss if you don't understand what this whole discussion is about. You know? So you're not getting the point, right? And you're not going to tell me what I'm supposed to chill. If you are not understanding the point that I'm trying to make, and you're going on and on and on, and you're still going on that matter, right? It makes no sense, right? We don't need to agree on everything. I think that someone like him showing interest for India is already, you know, causing interest. So, reality, Indian junior women are better than their seniors? No, Hitesh, no. That's another story for itself. No disrespect to the player, the career he has is insane, but then how will he come and also motivate the players? I don't think anyone gives a damn about him. See, Shom, again, you say, I don't think. Nobody cares what you think. You don't know, right? Nobody cares that. Get that point. But there are younger footballers who look up to players like him and they talk to him. There will be players in the UK who will talk to Michael Chopra and say, hey, is it worth the effort? Right? And Indy Ojla, who tried in 2004 or 5, I don't remember the year, you know, to East Bengal. I think 2004, 2005. These guys, the younger, they know each other. The world is very, very small in the football circles, right? And if we make this about, hey, you know what, Rajiv, you're not welcome in India. Okay, right? Then he'll tell other people, you know what, you're not wanted. Indian football is so much of negative PR and about, oh, you know, this, that, everything. This doesn't work. So, what is Hanufan trying to do in the market? Whenever they're looking at something in India, not sure if it's going to happen or not, but we'll have to wait and see. Right? So, yeah, let's wait and see. Because he's trying to do some kind of grassroots work, chaos may or may not be included in it. I can review so much because it's quite confidential decision we made at the end of season. Okay, I don't even know where you get that info from. Exactly, the lawyer mentioned that multiple times that it is a crucial thing to even have a chance of getting hosting of the 2036 Olympics. Yeah. Any update on sports passport? No, unstoppable. There is nothing. Indian government approves eligible OCI card up to 6th generation people of Indian origin, PIOs. So an exposable Indian football page. Interest 6th generation. Oh, that's a lot. Yeah, see there are some controversial ones, right? There are um, people who, for example, Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, with partition, this, that, and everything, right? So there's a lot of these ones which are very contentious. For example, Zesh Rahman, who formerly Fulham, um, played for Pakistan, of course, but Zesh theoretically from one side of his family, which was Indian Kashmir, Jammu and Kashmir at the time, could have theoretically played for India as well. But again, we didn't have pathways, right? So therefore, this is something which is a very interesting, very complex topic, right? And for us, if we are not welcoming to players of origin, we as India and Indian football, right? We've already lost the battle before it's even started, right? So that's a danger which I don't want to go into. We need to, even if someone has said, and we will have a lot of players who said at a young age, you know what, India, I don't care. I don't want to play for India. I want to play for England or Germany or France or US or Canada. Then you're not picked, right? Hamid Singh is another one, right? Hamid played a few friendlies for Norway, right? Again, when he went from Vålerenga to Feyenoord. Later on in his career, um, yeah, if we had the possibilities maybe of what is going to happen in the future, Hamid could have played for us. But in early in his career, he was like, hey, I want to play for Norway. And he did play for Norway, but luckily only friendlies. Manpreet Sakaria, for example, at the moment, as per the rules, he played a European qualifier. Manpreet Sakaria no longer is eligible for us. Maybe there is a way for us to go to FIFA and say, could you give an exemption? There are a few ISL clubs who want to do ISL in October and few in September. Everyone has their own reasons for it. I would love if ISL happens October and ends because it helps national team for ASEAN Cup preparation. Shoham, let the clubs and the AIFF sort out their matters first before we talk about dates. 4th of September for me makes no sense anyway. If the ASEAN Cup in that longer FIFA window starts, I would rather say, you know what, give, you know, and yeah, the calendar is a mess anyway. Rajiv is playing in second tier in Belgium league. Yes, Sitesh, yeah, at Beerschot, right? That's a high level. Our domestic players are not even good enough to make it there. Yeah, Rushabh, that's the reality. People who are against Rajiv needs to know that what was Ogbeche's age when he came to India, what's Messi's age now. Hannibal, yeah, Bartok Beche came at a similar age and look at what he did, right? Some of them, again, some of them are still playing at 35, 36, 37. Does he literally have Indian roots? Is eligible? He is, he has Indian roots in some sort of form way. Don't ask me what it is. From my understanding, it is. But the question is, there are some FIFA regulations as well, so we have to figure out. Comparing Messi and Guecho to Rajesh Shah. No, he's not. He's trying to make it understand. It's got 6 goals, 30 matches versus. Yeah, so what is it? Yeah. Let him first play in ISL, then we, you, me, everyone can judge him and see. It's a PR move. Yeah. Let's see. Do Indian all footballers in Britain lack talent compared to British footballers? No. No. I'm not I just speak truth, and truth is he will not be good enough until he comes and plays in ISL. So again, you think you know, Shoham. Who are you to say that you know? A player could be successful, could fail. You are already writing him off before he's even given a chance, right? And you're not understanding the fact that these kind of people in the circles of players of origin in Europe could be very, very crucial for people to think about, hey, listen, you know what? I want to play for India. He could convince people. Nah, nothing against the player, but will he actually contribute for national team? I don't. Again, Shom, you don't. Let's think practically. Forget if Rajiv plays for national team or not, but Rajiv playing us will surely attract other PIOs eyes. Surely, exactly. That's the point. So therefore, for me, that's very, very important. It's possible to think becomes a writer and Raju can play for 4 5 years. I don't even know if he's going to play or not play. But the question, uh, you know, that's the point to me is people like him showing an interest to play in India is already something that is news. Just playing workout with 1 year can help us. Good theoretically, yeah. Rajesh profile will not be big as Messi, but his profile can surely play a crucial role in bringing more CIs. Yeah, that's my point. I don't want to argue with anyone, but if he doesn't do well for national team, it's just waste of money for ISL clubs and all the hype will drain. Much love to you. Again, the hype will forget the hype. Yeah. The kind of player who could have gotten into Dutch national team when he was 20s. Yes, Hannibal, he was. Wasn't picked at the time because there were better players than him. Yeah, yes, in next round. Yes, Dark Knight, good evening. The US in the next, not the US, but Canada and Mexico as well. So all the co-hosts still in the competition. That's big. But it's not in urgent. Arupu's saying that. You're saying that? Yes, he did play for that as well. Yeah, at youth level. Yeah. Players play for India and first division Europe, not in ISL. If they play ISL, then they're lazy in Indian club football. Arup, my point, you know, you know, um, you know, and the point to me is ideally these players would play where they are and then get an Indian sports passport and then play for us. But if there is a rule to allow OCI players in the Indian Super League, we should utilize it in such a way that these players get a chance. So yeah, let's see. Right. I just love the way people debate once a single OCI player news comes into the market. Shoham, you started it. I didn't start it. I just reacted because you slandered the player without knowing the player, knowing that don't know the background and other things. So let's see. Kina said this player is doing this for one last paycheck and that he has denied any connection in the past. Tobo, a lot of players at a younger age will say, I'm not interested. And then at later stages, ideally, hopefully at 27, 28, 29, when they are not successful at other nations, you know, um, so therefore, that's the reality. The point here is we may not see if players will look at him or not, but it will surely create a headline in Europe like Hamza. Yes, in some sort of form where it would, because it's a question of what impact can things have. Do you think Avika has a chance to be a proper number 9? She's probably an attacking midfielder. She's just 22. I don't see her being a proper number 9, but again, maybe she can be in the future. We are telling you better technical than any Indian in the ISL. Respectfully, Dutch technical training is from another world. Yeah, yeah, man. Um, a player like let's look at the career that Rajiv Vanlapara has had, right? At 35, right? Born in Rotterdam, went through the youth system at Feyenoord, then went to French team Caen, right? Played a little bit, went back to the Netherlands, played very well at Herenveen as a winger, taken up by Wolves with some loan spells at Brighton and Huddersfield Town, then 3 years at Huddersfield Town, loan spell at Middlesbrough, and then came his sort of bad patches around COVID, Red Star Belgrade, Logrones, Würzburger Kickers. He played one half season, was okay. Then he went to Greece, went back to the Netherlands. Almere became a regular player, and then he's been at Beerschot quite a regular player. So if I look at it, under 17, under 19, under 21 player in the Netherlands. But again, in those days, if you look at the team 2014 around the World Cup, a player like him would not have gotten in there. The Dutch had too many options. So that has to be remembered. Here, this sports thing is a complex thing to do. Won't be as it seems in X and Insta. Deep, I think, and let's see what happens. I want a player who plays in Champions League level and is below the age of 30. Sure, we're not baking any players, right? I would love our players to be playing at PSG and at Arsenal, at Bayern, at Barca, at Real. No, it's not happening next week. There is no that level of player doesn't exist. right? You know, now I get your frustration, but OCIPO, we are so desperate for success and move out of this. Now, the problem is that we've been discussing only this for the last 50 minutes, 51 minutes of this conversation because um, people don't want to understand what certain realities are and want to explain, oh, this is good, that is bad. Listen, we do not have that, that 22, 23-year-old player who says, you know what, I want to play for India, right? Like that Kumar kid in Croatia. He's 19. You think that he will play for us? No, of course not. He's going to play for Croatia. He's going to go to a big team. He's going to play for Croatia. So that's the reality. She doesn't even play for a club. So regardless of current level, she can't develop with someone that follows A and B. In Denmark, the B Liga is very, very poor. A Liga, two top tiers in Danish women's football. Yeah, Sasha, very big problem. Rajul plays only one quality Norwegian player playing in Stellenbosch in South African League top tier is a little bit interested. See, and then we throw in another name. Rajiv great grandfather was from India, and there's gap between, as in between no one. Was also a citizen, is even eligible. See, and then someone else throws in another angle. Sir, আমি ইন্ডিয়ান ফুটবল প্রেসিডেন্ট হতে চাই কি করতে হবে? Europe wants to become president of Indian football. You have to be part of the state affair. State Football Association, work there. Yeah. And then work your way up to the AIFF level. What if Mosi Desi head coach better become the national team coach? No. See, it's not about him. We've had the example of Manolo and others. I want someone who has the experience of coaching a national team to be the national team coach of India. Right? I think that's very, very important for us. You know? So that's the thing. In past, people said several things about Danny Bath as well, as he's overage and washed, but that man is still in championship. Raj, he's played Premier League. He's long-time Wolves player. I know Danny. Danny wanted to play for us 12, 13 years back, first time, right? But nothing has happened again. Dutch United team will probably beat Indian senior team. Yeah, Sasha. 70 football and Commonwealth Games in Gujarat. Arup, nice idea, but again, for that, the Commonwealth Games will not uh, um, we'll have to see. OCI PL players shouldn't join ISL to keep the quality high abroad. India should just issue them post-pass or international matches similar to Hamza Chaudhuri. Yeah, but let's see. Let's see what is going to happen. Get me a guy below 30. I'm not entertaining uncles anymore. We already have many. Show him. Wake up to reality. What is 20 advice is that the pool ISL teams are using Shubhrajit. I don't even know what list they're using. Yeah. Michael Shaw was captain at England youth level. Of course, he was good to wait to see if he got a chance to win them first. It's not even a debate. Sasha, to add to that point, Michael Chopra was England captain in under 20 World Cup. So again, maybe there's a bit of racism and other things involved there. The Chops didn't get a chance in England because they saw him as Indian. So these people are only going to come to us at 30 plus when they've outed for national team are gone. That's the reality. Sasha, very well said. No one's coming at 21, 22 to us. Right? And those who want to come at 21, 22 are not good enough. I want a person who pushes to play for India like Ryan Williams is giving interview every 6 months and trying to get Indian followers. Where is he given interviews every 6 months? I don't even get it. Shom, where are you getting your infos from? You are so far away from reality about what is happening or not happening. Ryan Williams came. Why did Ryan Williams come to India? Because he got a better offer at BFC. Was it an idea that he was considering? No, he was not considering to play for India originally. His brother, I remember when Arian was playing for Niroka, yeah, he was interested. Ryan's interest came later on. So get your stories right, right? What about nursing? Yeah, there's Luciano, his brother as well. Again, Luciano, of course, played for the Netherlands. So therefore, that the Surinamese connection could be very strong for us if we want to. Why Indian football should suffer not going to Asian Games with this MYS rule? So those are the rules. If you like it, I like it. That's the rules of the government. Yeah? So therefore, for me, you like it or I like it, because also our priorities are not the right ones when it comes to the Asian Games. Because Indian football fans, because of the history, uh, you know, um, so therefore, so for me, we need to be realistic about it. What happened last time, which people forget, right? Indian football fans were crying out left, right. India needs to go to the Asian Games, right? Even Egos too much got involved. What happened? Oh, you know what? They messed up the under 23 Asian Cup qualifiers. And then the government said, oh, Sunil needs to play, Sandesh needs to play, Gurpreet needs to play. Wow, great. Congratulations. Congratulations. You guys are really smart, right? Because the Asian Games playing or not playing makes no difference. This is needs to be understood. And most countries are using under 21s, right? The government has a rule, top eight. Hey, great. Are we top eight? Of course not. We are getting in because others have said, thank you very much, Tata, bye-bye. Looking at current scenario, these uncles can help us. If Beke can play, why not him? Yeah. Rand Williams is 30 and did it because he had zero chance to play for Australia. Yeah. हिंदी में बात क्यों नहीं करते सर बिकॉज हर्ष मेरा हिंदी इतना अच्छा नहीं है एंड आई एम मोर कंफर्टेबल स्पीकिंग इन इंग्लिश Zach Shoaib Inyojan through his mother's side signed for Liga 3 club in Germany. Okay, let me check. Remember hearing that name. Um, he signed at Saarbrücken. Yeah, he was former Arsenal academy, was at Real Sociedad last season, and now signing at SFC Saarbrücken, even though it's showing citizenship English and Nigerian. So before he even gets to the close to the Indian one, her mother is half Spanish, half Indian. So that's again another third generation one. Beggars are not choosers in context of info. Dark Knight, that's the point, right? Becker really plays. He's just there for long throws. No other foreign coach will even entertain until AIFF is putting pressure on the manager. Shoaib, you don't know. Sorry, I have to question. You know, the question is, if Rahul Baker is not being considered by foreign coaches, why was he playing in the last few years for all the teams, even though there were others as options? Right. So for me, even a foreign coach will entertain it, because if you would have watched the Zimbabwe game, which I did, Sandesh Singh and Rahul Beke at the back were the standout guys because the defensive midfield was a mess. As sad as it is. So therefore, that is the question. Rahul Beke will not, if Anwar Ali is there, hey, he moves out. But he's your first option. There is no Mehtab, there is no this, there is no that is the reality of our football. Right? So 2009 Indian football coach is not coaching. No. Arup Bob Houghton has retired. Can we also find and dig up the grave of Alexander the Great and ask him if he's Indian origin and can play for us? Sasha, yeah, there's a lot of people, no? Just a Wikipedia, and according to sources attached to Suriname, descent, he was named in honor of Rajiv Gandhi's death. He's half brother of Gigi Wijnaldum. He has cousins whose football as well, so how come they weren't linked to India like he was over the last decade? It's a mess because of his name. Rishabh, he was linked, yes, 100% due to his name to India. But the point was that there were conversations about him. I even remember I had him in a database in the early 2010s when we were talking with the AIFF about it again. His name cropped up. And even at the Bob in 2010, I think under Bob Houghton, I remember that name once cropped up as a potential. I think Peter would be a good option for the national team. He plays defensive football, but in equal measures, teams also know how to attack. It's not one-dimensional like now. Yeah, but again, club coach. To me, Sasha, club coach and a national team coach, two different jobs. For me, the national team coach needs to be clearer about certain things, which I find very difficult from a perspective. There are so many players out there with Indian-ish names, but again, not everyone has any connection to India, right? Why are we going so crazy over this? Rishabh, the problem is, yeah, again, then, when we say, oh, for example, Orlando Gil, the Paraguay goalkeeper, like Gil. But Gil, even with a single L or a double L in Spanish, is a surname, right? Jesus Gil used to be president of Atletico Madrid, right? So therefore, there are certain names. For example, you have in Turkish Bengali sounding surname of Sen, yeah, and but the Turkish Sen is not a Bengali Sen, right? So that's the reality. And was to get knocked out in round one, then the out in public would be insane. Then Rajiv would play in Aero Cup, Intercontinental, and South Championship. So is he playing for us? I don't even know, right? And the public outrage will not be insane because the public who cares today will not care next year if and when if we have to play the first round of qualifiers. It's all the people who bother. They don't bother for 4 years about Indian football, right? So therefore, nobody cares. Neil Taylor was of Indian origin when his practice always was. Hitesh, we did not even know that Neil Taylor was of Indian origin until Neil Taylor himself said, you know what, my mother is Anglo-Indian and from Kolkata. So would other people who care about these things know that he has Indian roots? No, right? And again, yes, full international for Wales, even played the Olympics for Great Britain. I'll pass my time doing the 2027 AFC Asian Cup. I don't know, Hannibal. Watch some football and enjoy it. I also should play whatever leagues they are playing in, but in case they do come up, they're treated the same way as local players as in foreigners. 400%, 6 if the club wants. Togo, we don't have that level of OCIs where I'd say, you know what, we need to get XYZ. We need to be very clear what we want. People need to understand season OCIs, even if 30 plus, are an upgrade over current crop of domestic players. Yeah, Trubhajit, very right. If you really want to go deep into this origin, then nearly whole Caribbean will turn out Indian origin. No, it's not whole Caribbean, as I know, and, um, um, but again, 20-25% of the Caribbean, most probably, I think 1 in 4, yeah, maybe not, maybe 1 in 4, maybe 1 in 5, 20% of the Caribbean population will have some sort of Indian connection in it. A basic fact, even worse, OCA has better football basic than our domestic players. Yeah, that's the sad part. We need competent people in AIFF that can manage this upcoming OCI. Yeah, .NET, that's another thing. Indian football fans should also realize we don't have players pool. We have no pool. At the moment, we don't have a pool. We have 50, 60 players to choose from, and about 40 of those shouldn't be even considered. Why am I saying so? Because they're not ready for international football. You know, even in Football Manager video game, Rajiv name is not included or linked to any Indian origin. Okay, Sean, is that your criteria? We're looking at players because they're in Football Manager. There's a lot of players who are not going to be in Football Manager, um, who will be, who would be eligible for us, and most probably would be good enough for us. We need someone like Steven Constantine. Yeah, Dark Knight. I think you need an evolution from what Steven was. Um, and let's see where it takes us, right? And that's going to be a challenge in itself. With the way things were. So we're very interesting to see how we can move on things. What's your views on Jyoti Chauhan who signed for not Netanya? Netanya, sorry. Not Netanya FC in top tier of Israel Women's League. Hasn't convinced me as a footballer in the last 2 years. I don't know why. So I have to See how she does in Israel. Not an easy one. Stephen is no more the same manager. He failed in second stint in India. So, what are you talking? He failed in the second stint in India. What are you talking? Seriously? Are you serious? Have you forgotten the 2019 AFC Asian Cup, where I at least have seen the best ever football match of an Indian football team, which was the second half versus Thailand in that 4-1 win, right? What else am I supposed to say? If you have that opinion, my friend, look for something else, because this is not this is not getting us anywhere. Is Steven the perfect manager for us or not? No, most probably not. But he was always able. India were in the 170s. He got us again with some sorted friendlies into the 90s. But again, and that's the problem, right? The first stint was good. I helped Steven to come in 2001, 2002 to get the India job, right? And in the second stint, I think we would be very happy to be where Steven was in 2019. Because why? Because we haven't qualified. And Steven left a working team behind for Ego Steamach to build. And he, over years, destroyed it. And he left a broken house for Manolo, who couldn't work with it. And then Khalid came in. Yeah, what to say? The Arman Wilson and Sheikh Wilson and Rohan are three players playing French top team league. All three are OCL players. Okay, Rushi. Just watch Indian bloggers' videos of Surinamese, Guyanese, and South African. We have much bigger, maybe largest number of Indians outside India versus South Africa for a long time. Yeah, Kevin, very true. But again, we have options, but the point is we need to filter out the right ones who suit us and who help us. So that's the challenge. Forget about whole India, but we have OCS from Kolkata, which we don't know. Yeah, Raj, we've got a lot of Anglo Indians who we don't know who exist, right? Who's the rest of the technical staff behind Khalid? Um, Mahesh Goli, of course, is the assistant coach. So India only has one assistant coach in Mahesh Goli. Feroz Sharif is the goalkeeping coach. That to me is it. I don't. Um, yeah, Cleston Pinto was being the strength and conditioning coach. Yeah, and that's it. That's the staff around it. Yes, there are many players, but are they necessarily good enough to play for India, or they're the better player playing elsewhere? So most of the players will be better than what we have. That's the problem. Since second, it was the most successful period in football history. Yeah, Hannibal, most probably. We need proper scouts to recruit us. I don't have any faith in the clan AIFF. That's a different conversation. One thing Optic important to point it out, the fact that there will be so many hurdles to get past for sports passport, the opposition, the Supreme Court, sports federation, they don't files any case, it's gone. Um, eh, I don't know, Rushabh. As I said, I trust the people. Um, they're working on things. Sorry, I made a mistake. I thought it was his second stint. It was his second stint. And the second stint was as Hannibal just said, it was the most successful period. And most people will not say that. We need more failure like Stephen Gunn given us. Khalid vision will take us to Asian Cup. God. Who will be the next coach of a football team? Harsh, no idea. Don't forget, Scooter will take us to World Cup and you're talking about Asian Cup, says Raj. Why OCS couldn't become like Morocco origins? Does we lack talent to reach top level? We still don't know where we will see any origin guy at top of world football. Renal, why? This is a good question. Um, you know, why not? In the UK, which nobody will want to talk about. We have a racism issue, or have had a racism issue um, in the past. I hope it's getting better, but I think in the next decade we will see, I think, players breaking through into the Premier League. Poaching players from Chandigarh football can. Oops, it was a recently said in podcast. I have no idea. Harsh. Freedom of speech. Yeah. There were a lot of Armenians in Kolkata, hence Armenian church, Armenian street. They used to play rugby. We never tapped into them in their youth. They did. What was the guy's name? Oh, I used to play with him, against him in Kolkata in the early 90s. Emil Vatazarian used to play for Mohammedan Sporting and later on became India captain in. Sorry, let me just put that. Sorry, yeah, that's better. Emil Vatazarian became captain of the uh, um Indian rugby team. So it was Hitesh to some extent, but it was never pushed. And a lot of these talented Armenians went elsewhere. All the process will take at least 2 years. Sure, that's what I've said. The aim is not India and football. The aim is the LA Olympics 2028. India needs better results. Very simple. Because the kind of players will become. Yeah. Is the entire depend on Olympic? But yes. Rishabh, this whole thing has nothing to do with football per se, in the sense of that for football, football is a byproduct of having most probably the biggest footfall of Indian origin athletes. But the point is, the second that India says, you know what, we have a sports passport, we're open, we want to give you a chance, I think there will be tons of athletes from around the world who you and I don't even know that they have Indian roots suddenly will become eligible for us. So therefore, and in other sports, the pathways are much, much easier than they are in football. So that's also a reality. The Chakde guy got a legal notice from a big person whom we all know. Oh, God. So we're focusing more on our World Cup, which is SAF. Asian Cup is not our priority. Mahesh, the problem is for us, um, again, um, Khalid said it in a way which was, yeah, um, which which has become a meme and people are making fun of it. But the point was for him is, again, we've not qualified for the Asian Cup. So what is the biggest competition for us coming up? And we were talking about the year 2026, the SAF Cup, right? So therefore, yeah, not the smartest thing to say, but again, he said it. His academic players are useless. Anyway, he's later was comparing his youth players' fitness to Virat Kohli fitness. Yeah, he was. Mm, academia. That's not an issue. Word was okay. He's realized his mistake and reposted him to the same podcast clips as many were brainwashed to his peer. At least he realized many you don't want to himself post few minutes ago. Okay, yeah, it's the realities of things are yeah difficult, and Indian football has a long way to go. A lot of things Indian football needs to do, and it's not easy. It's not going to be taking. It will take time for us to get to where we want to see Indian football, and it's not going to get easier. So the reality is it's 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 um, it's difficult, but um, we need to think how we're going to get to the level, and players of origin is a way of doing this. I've said this now for 25 years, that we need to look at origin players and need to find means and ways of getting them to play for us, and I stick to that, what I said, and you know so there's something that we need to work on. So therefore for me, yeah, there's a lot of work which remains to be done. Ahmed said he's against bringing Osip because he thinks it's just a short-term plan, not long-term solution. Yeah, but it is a long-term solution, Mahesh. That's why. Yeah, I have. Scooter like there's freedom of speech, but I cannot guarantee it is after speech. Yeah, I agree with culture Indians are more focused on mainstream careers, push their kids in that direction too. They do, but again, there have been kids who went through the system, you know, and yeah, let's wait and see. Um, so therefore, for me, the question isn't are they pushing them in that direction? Are they pushing that in another direction? The question is how can we get more players out of the system? And that was that's something which will be very interesting to see. Chad, do you know of any OSA players in USA, Canada? Yes, Roshi, I do. I mean, I've interviewed Shan Hundal here. Uh, he won also a few days back, but he himself got legal notice. Why did his video even go viral when people are believing him? Not Instagram. Means nothing, but someone needs to. Okay. Because the how they speak, the more correct you are. Huh? You do have players from the city tribe. You know, we who we how we develop is not the question. The question is the players need to develop. That's the end game. I feel right. And will it happen? Will it not happen? That's going to be the question. And it's very difficult. So therefore it's going to be um, yeah, going to be very very important. So let's see. So yeah, that's where maybe I should not do the videos. I don't want any legal trouble. I'm still in college. Yeah, Raj, maybe you should some of the things maybe better to remove and not be in the firing line. Yeah, but it's not worth it. And again, but still get opinions out. Right? It's very very important that we fight for what is right in Indian football. Yeah, yeah. So therefore, yeah, that's the problem. There's a college boy who's got legal notice. His career is cooked. Those legal notices are worth nothing. Can football ever compete with cricket in our lifetime? Do we have to compete with cricket? Would be my question, Harsh. Football is football. Let's bother about that. And, that's the thing. So, therefore, for me, um, yeah, we'll have to see what happens. To me, that's going to be the question. And, yeah, we need a lot of work. By the way, Mrs. out on behalf of her case, the trial is pending. Not since the former cricket, my only has personally helped file FIR against him. Okay. Some clips gone viral. Definitely keep an eye on such accounts. Yeah. He's an attack huge crowd for cricket, rugby, and football. Same with Australia. Yeah. Or South Africa, right? What will happen to this? But a proactive approach right now could be approaching players and making sure they get their OCI card. And once they peak, get them do a Ryan Williams move. Rushabh, um, nice thought. I've had this conversation with multiple Origin players. I know that a lot of them have taken it up on them. But yeah, so we're on the same wavelength. I had to say it, it's the only way as of now. Yeah, Rushabh. Canada for India is even also also might to long-term solution. Shubhajit, it will not be a short-term solution in my opinion. Right. So therefore for me it's very, very important um, to understand that once they come in, better ones will come in and the system will get stronger. Right. Jude City was from Sidi tribe. They came in as slaves when Nawabs from Kenya, Somalia, Ethiopia. Yeah, but after Jude City was at Salgaonkar and played also for India a few games. No one has come through from that community. Freedom of speech is only valid for me until it favors me. Wow, Raj, very hard. Kutam is Interpol and ICG and sent legal notice to announce. Yeah, that night. Not funny. These things are not funny. Um, and again, it's yeah, the work is not being done. No? The things that need to be done or things need to happen don't happen, and then people claim things, do things. We're not getting where we should, right? And that's the biggest problem I feel we have in Indian football, right? Again, you know, um, so share with him with Sega when I was younger. Says, Germany must be gutted. Yeah, so was very disappointed. I'm still disappointed. But I'm also on the other side angry with the refereeing in that game. But that's the reality at the moment of football. That there's things go that way, if I like it or not, and yeah, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. So to me, it's something which are um, yeah, what to say. It's a very um, disappointing, you know, um, disappointing way of ending it because the team had talent. The team still has talent, but too many factors of why it didn't work. And again, the refereeing comes on top of that. Besides the own mistakes, does India have athletes in track and field? I can understand second football, but to increase our Olympic medal tally, do we have athletes in India origin competing at that elite level? Demo, no idea. To be very honest, I'm not that involved in athletics. Chuck, the guy learned a really hard lesson. Yeah. Germany, Netherlands coming World Cup with a lot of hype and getting beat by random teams. I loved what Tony Kroos said that Germany doesn't have that superstar. So it's not a question of superstar. The question of Germany is that, as a team, it could have clicked. The problem is that too many players are, uh, um, too many players were out of form. Certain players were played out of position. And the weird one is, after the 7-1 against Curacao, especially the comeback win against Ivory Coast, it looked like psychologically that team was on the up and actually they were on the down weirdly. Why was it Ashish or Pratim who called Scooter out? No idea. Rishabh, I didn't watch it. Let's have comment on the video in which Scooter said UP has no clubs. Yeah, Raj. What happened to that casting on? Why is it being delayed so much? It's been 2 years after the move. Hannibal, because that case was only filed, I don't know when it was filed, sometime this year, I think. Have fun. We have very young Muslim players developing in Europe, Canada, US if they get them. Very, very good position to compete. Yeah, we're not going to get young players. Not the first generation. Maybe, again, the top ones will not decide to play for us. Brother, please get Reliance to find notice and Messiah. One case, I have to sell his poaching academy. Rishabh, they haven't done anything. They never react to any of these things, be it football, be it other things. So therefore, if you ask me, they're not going to do that. So, and who am I to tell them to do that? I'm a nobody. Indian athletics athletes track and field are good at Asian Commonwealth level, not at world level. Okay, Hitesh. Update regarding sports passport? No, nothing. Yeah, you can, as he's already declared as FSTL agent. What's this? Sigua only saw just Monroe stepped on. Sasha, semi sleeping status at the moment. One of the many clubs which are there, but are not really doing something, you know. And so therefore, let's see where it goes. But um, yeah, so therefore, I have to wait and see. I'm planning to come to Germany. Where do you live? I will come to your home and take me to good places to enjoy. Sure. Everyone knows I live in Remscheid, and yeah, more than welcome to come to this part of the country. Iskara Blasters is shutting down. They aren't taking part in Duran Cup. So there are multiple clubs are not taking part in Duran Cup. One club official has told to me what's the value of that tournament. A lot of people don't see the value anymore of the Duran Cup, and therefore Duran Cup other things, and they're just opting out. So that's it. And yeah, those are some of the realities at the moment. And Um, yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens with the new season, because a lot of teams are not wanting to play. SL clubs are hibernating. Yes, Dark Knight. A lot of them, some of them are in the market to figure out, hey, can we sell the club? Can we sell a stake? Can we get a new partner? Everyone's waiting for a final decision, right? So now the cricket fans are over exposing him. We must have not expected it, man. How many teams are taking part during cover? I saw the draw for Kolkata Global Ones was the only ISL team. Uh, I think they've got 5 cities and I think 7 groups or something. I don't even know how many teams are taking part. See, this is how far we are out of it. As a Chelsea fan, you should have signed Jackson permanently. Why? It's a shame they could easily field academy or reserve team to get them game time. Sasha, the clubs are not clear if they will exist in, um so why would they put in teams to play the Duran Cup? And a lot of people don't rate the Duran Cup these days anymore. That's also, no one will say that, but that's what they say behind closed doors. Do you think Santosh don't need to be U21 tournament? No. I wouldn't do that. But again, Santosh Trophy is a state tournament and Durand is a preseason tournament. Messiah trolled Kohli, obviously qualified. Or at him. Yeah, Zoravar. East Bengal women team draw is out. Yes, that draw for the AFC Women's Champions League is out. He also said some nice about net choppers weren't getting cooked. Okay. Germany doesn't have the players of the quality of Philipp Lahm, Bastian Schweinsteiger, Lothar Matthäus, Mario Götze, Thomas Müller, Mats Hummels, Mesut Klose. They don't, but on the other side, you have still, you've got a Kimmich, Kai Havertz, if he's in good form. Flo Wirtz, Jamal Musiala theoretically could be an insane, um, insane combo. Pavlovic, Mecha. I think Nene Brown as a left back. Uh, yeah, so therefore, there's a lot of talent in there. Women has no coach as his contract has expired, man. Bernard Empes on a coach is good. Let's see, Zoravar, if Dimperis will become the coach of Monman Superjar or not. Yeah, will be interesting. How's the coach after heat waves? It's okay. It's actually quite fresh. I think it's 18, 19 degrees. It rained in the afternoon. So, yeah, nice weather, so to say. Just one Google search on Messiah's cases damage nuts. He thought no one will notice and will go safely. Yeah. The funniest thing was the part about 10-second Indian 100-meter sprinter who, if he got support, would world class 10 seconds, 100 meters is slow. Yeah. German right back often question, especially Kimmich. Yeah, Murali, there were options. Let's see. Honestly, I can really see India make it to the 2034 World Cup, but look at the qualifiers starting next year. We are on rating as India's ranking drop even a bit more. We'll right into round one of the AFC qualifiers. That's a massive trap because a single knockout tie can completely ruin your chances. Plus, let's probably won't get OCI players on the team by then. Yeah, but you're talking about 2034 and you're saying 2030 will not, I don't know where the correlation in that conversation, Temu, is. Uh, don't think about us qualifying for the World Cup. Let us qualify for 2031 Asian Cup. Let us focus on that. Let's try and do that. And yeah, let's see what happens. Germany, Korea didn't live as they expected. Germany didn't. The Netherlands didn't. Korea didn't. Uruguay didn't. A lot of teams were still in the tournament, haven't, but they're still in the tournament. So, reality. Do you think Congo punched above their weight? No. They show how good they were. Speaking loudly doesn't mean you're right. Yes, Raj. Being too smart and the PR Insta got over his head, says whatever. Anthony's out of East Bengal FC Women's. East Bengal is without a coach. Okay. 2030. Yeah, 2030. Yeah, let's see. We are on the edge, right? We have to be very careful. We are on the edge, and one bad result, and we could be dropping in the rankings. So let's see. But you said these tournaments don't add it. What's the value to over at the moment? We're not having a proper preseason. Our season is not properly organized. If the season is properly organized, then you can force teams to say, you know what, you have to send your first teams. But then playing all over India, it's the monsoons, right? Never forget that. And in that part, east, northeast India, it's the monsoons. It is, I've seen enough footage of the last 2 years where they've played in these bad conditions. So, yeah, problem. Focus on AFC Asian Cup. Exactly, Dark Knight. Our aim, we need to focus on qualifying for 2031. That needs to be our aim. Forget everything else. Do you know about any of the consultants who have migrated to Germany or anywhere in Europe? You, Rushabh, honestly, no. Mm, Never worked with them or heard about them. Yeah, it does. You need to start screaming if you want people to agree with you. Yeah. This tournament would mean more matches with young players at youth level. Yeah. Toba, but again, yes, matches, but it's matches for the sake of matches, right? There's no structure. They're playing tournaments. Again, he thought this paid podcast will be his biggest success, but it turned out to be his most harmful image which he built in years. Problem is, most of the people who just watch reads don't know what the reality of those players are. Yeah. Do you think European Asian teams will integrate more and more African origin players in their teams? So, however, it's not integrating about African origin players in Europe. In Europe, the population is intermixing. So therefore, if you look at Germany, you have African origin players, you have players from Turkey, we've had players from Syria. Nadim Amiri is of an Afghan origin. We've had players with South American roots in the team as well. Kevin Kurani used to be what is Brazilian, uh, you know. So therefore, that will happen. Asians also look at Zion Suzuki, really talented young goalkeeper. Um, so let's wait and see. Bangladesh 20 team has already brought new technical director and few Argent players to train with the players. Listen, the BFF is doing those things right, which the AIFF is not doing at all. What about Japan joining this World Cup? No, you're not good enough, right? You played group in the great in the group stages, but in the first knockout match you faltered again. And Japan knockout matches has not been a good story in World Cups. Five losses in the first knockout match is not a good result. So therefore, um, I rated them. I even rated them as a dark horse. Let's see. A simple Google search is so much concerning, which our official president knows what below the table. Yeah. How India program U20? I personally have no hope from this U20 team. Sure, are they preparing at all? Are they bothered? Do they have the funds to prepare the team? That's part of the problem, right? We're not talking about the whole problem. We're saying, hey, listen, sort the ISL. Uh, you know, um, so therefore, for me, yeah, it's a mess. The AFF is a mess. The ISL is a mess. Indian football is a mess. There is a reason why he talks like that. The past as well. Yeah, when the answer we consider Guru is produce Asia level, it doesn't matter. Well, we can win X, Y, Z cups if you, as you rightly said, if we don't produce at least Asian level players. That's the end of the conversation. Indian football is a 4 year phenomenon. People here will sleep for 4 years and will wake up during FIFA World Cups. Take journalists like Rajesh Sadhu said before, but not a single post regarding football. Yeah. Um, yeah. That's why I called out Rajib Sadasai, no, with this sort of football gyan. It's like, that's why I said, no, you know. Um, so therefore, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. Germany scenario for the private match, but Bern had saying a big talk before the World Cup. I don't really, yeah, but Roshan, if you look at Senegal, the way they were behaving as well in the Belgium game after the 2-0, Japan is different, but you never know. But having less number of matches in system is a major problem for us, right? They say moment is always better. October is always better, but use this tournaments are not minutes which I want and need. I need we need a league system. For what, last few weeks itself, he's posted 3 4 posts on X. Yeah, nice. But it doesn't take us anywhere, right? If someone like a Rajiv Sadasai, with his critical thinking, would ask questions once in a while in these 4 years, that would help Indian football, no? Right? He just always says that only player to score for India has scored to the guy's name, Jason Singh. But how many of the players from that you say have really made it to that level? Yeah, but how long was Jackson at that academy? Jackson is a product of the Chandigarh Football Academy, right? And that so-called time when he was at Minerva, he was with the Indian under-17 World Cup squad. How can ISF clubs reduce the expenditures? Can they even talk about reduce the salaries? Radical ways, but no one's gonna touch that, no? Sadly as it is. Jackson seems to have performance dropped in stadium position. Yeah, massively. Massively in the last year, even though they just won the ISL, right? So therefore it sounds very um, unfitting, let's put it this way, to say that about him. But yeah, those are realities, right? So therefore for us it's a challenge. It was a challenge, it is a challenge, and we'll have to see where it heads, no? So therefore, yeah, it's not an easy one, as I've said again and again. So Indian football is the way it is. Right, 1 hour 37 minutes already. Quick reminder: if you haven't, do like, do share, do subscribe to Arun Foot here on YouTube. 15 likes so far. I think we can do better, guys. And 20 of you are watching. And if you haven't and you're listening, you like, um, do subscribe to the channel. And um, 4,587 is the number of subscribers. They just want football to propel their own political agenda. I've always criticized BJP regarding sports investment, but I always didn't even invest in football either. So now it doesn't matter who you speak about. Forget, don't, there's no point of mentioning a political party. Politicians in India don't care about football, right? Some do, but don't, it's not linked to there are people in the BJP who support Indian football or have supported. There are people in the Congress, in the Trinamool, in all the others, whatever there is, right? I don't get that how Andres says he said that we're taking to World Cup 2034. Yeah. My idol Messiah complaining about Anwali getting 4.8 crore per season, saying he's highest paid now and compared with Maislo Scali of Arsenal. Didn't say who did that illegal deal with East Bengal FC. What happened to the U15 Stuttgart Leverkusen match? Okay. Which Stuttgart? I'm not getting it. I watched some clips of tournaments yesterday for a start. If you complicate in that fashion in Europe, you'll be out, and the desperation to win is the reason why they won't progress. Yeah, it's about development. Right, Sasha? Take us to World Cup, we'll win it. With youth leagues, but all of matches, right? Yes, that's the problem. But the problem of youth leagues is, to me, it's sort of centrally, nationally organized. There needs to be more competitions at state, or if the states are big, at city or district level. We cannot nationalize the system. And one Olympic medal. Huh? So inclusion of PO will help in reducing wage bill of Indian players who take big salary. No, Dark Knight. Arsenal should so realize the month this guy started getting 5 paper rolls, he's getting 29. Raj. They don't care. This guy called once he was part of youth national teams that played against Park Ji-sung. But Messiah is challenge to you. He has to come to me, and he won't, so I don't need to bother. Many of his academy players aren't from his academy either. Take Vikram Padar, he spent majority of his youth in Chandra football, only spent a year or two in the football academy. So however, most of the players who have played, you know, um, so I've played a certain period of time at the academy, but again, a lot of them are Chandigarh Football Academy products, right? And you never hear anything from the Chandigarh Football Academy. So, And therefore for me, some of these things are, yeah, they are the way they are. So what to do? The challenge presented will never come to Germany playing those teams. Harsh, I said come to Germany. I never mentioned a club, but the offer is there. If they want to come over and play academy teams, please come over. We'll organize it. Not a problem. Harsh Negi fell in legal trouble in 24, and he said that the petitioner never appears before the court, and the lawyer keeps on giving reason and blame the hearing, but he personally invested so much money to pay the lawyers. Man, shameful. I feel bad for those kids on some level. Too much of the wrong kind of attention through no fault of their own. Yeah, yeah, Sasha. Yeah, that's the sad part of these stories, and um, yeah, it's difficult. Where we are at this moment in time is very difficult, and it's a question of how can we get out of it, and that's an even bigger question, and there is no answer to that, right? But therefore, for me, very difficult. He poaches players from other academies and takes credit. Yeah, was trying for a product in current national team except Vikram and Jackson. Wouldn't know, Rushabh, to be very honest. Sad part is Utah also lies about repairs being his product. Yeah. It's disappointing because, yeah, some of these kids, because in those days the national team camps were extended for juniors, spend limited time at the academies. Most of the time was actually spent also sometimes with the AIFF. So the Jeekson batch, Jeekson, Amarjeet, Dheeraj, Anwar, all these guys mostly spent time with the Indian national team and the AIFF. So, right. And Tapas Chandika Football Academy product. Good question. Wait, let me just check before I say something wrong. Uh, Anu Thapa, did he play? Thapa's actually St. Stephen Academy, which also is a Chandigarh-based academy, but he played for St. Stephen and then actually was part of the AIFF Elite Academy. So he was never part of Minerva Academy. Huh? He played for Minerva on loan in the I League, right? When he was with Chennai, he was one of four players who went to FC Metz and then signed for Minerva. Do you think we can have longer leagues? Oh, yes, we should. Of course we can. I remember the way you said I gave India first World Cup goal scorer. Yeah, Roshan. That's the problem. Time to say good night. Us fighting will not take India anywhere until every part of ecosystem gets into right place. Yeah, sure. That's the fight that I've been fighting for the last 3 decades with my little means that I have. Not an easy one, but when I think something is wrong, I will call it out wrong. And if I think something is right, I will say it is right. Will I be always right? No. And if I'm wrong, I say I'm wrong. But in this case, I thought it was right. So Srivas never mentioned Chennai Football Academy once, yeah. But that's the reality, Rushabh, because the guys at Chandigarh Football Academy don't care. They do their work humbly, calmly, quietly, and just get it done. Right. And that is the problem of the whole of our system, the way it is at this moment in time, right? And yeah, it's sad. It's sad, it's very sad, but the reality of our football. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. See, poaching players on small academies are normal, even in European football, not giving them credit. But not again, that's the point, you know. Um, it's done by the big clubs around the world, but you will then find out that XYZ player played for XYZ academy. And that's the point to me that academy like Chandigarh Football Academy has totally been sidelined, even though it was the OG academy in that region. He's shameless, otherwise he would have not said lies on such big paid platform. That's your assessment, Raj. Did you have a problem of overthinking if your team loses? No, I don't think so. Sometimes again, again when you're younger, you do that. But again, for example, as you know, um, for example, I was uh, um, India versus Bahrain, Asian Cup 2019, terrible, right? But that night, not only and uh, we actually I think chatted till 5 in the morning. A lot of people around, and had a lot of conversations. So why don't we do? We lack of money. Talk about lack of money to some extent, organizational skill, the will, the desire of organizing it, localizing it also, right? So that's the problem. I can't even sleep properly if my team loses the match. Yeah, sure. With OH level. How to take your boys in World Cup? Answer: they wake up in morning and eat the World Cup badge on their chest on my fest. Oh God. Um, where do these academies, Channel Football Academy and St. Academy, lack or do they lack? Because we don't have proper youth leagues at national, state, or district level, right? Rushabh, the problem is that the Chandigarh Football Academy, again, its first technical director used to be a certain Shaji Prabhakaran, right? So Shaji actually set up a good program over there, did a good job, you know. Um, but they were about producing talent, like the Tata Football Academy. It's about producing talent. It's not about the show and the shebang and this and that, everything. And then the AIFF came around with licensing and other things, and these academies sort of, yeah. So that's the, you know, so therefore, will be very interesting to see what happens, and yeah, and let's see what happens. What how these academies can grow or be integrated into the system. Only way get into World Cup is if our youth team consistently qualifies for Asian Cup and World Cup. So yes, maybe not, maybe some other route. Again, as I said, origin players most probably is your fast track route, even for the senior team, because the Indian problem is a bottom up approach. Who will fund it? A bottom up approach in an Indian context is the most difficult one, which because we always have a bottom top down approach. Yeah, it's failing, and it's a disaster, and therefore it is something which yeah, will be very interesting to see. So it's going to be very interesting. What 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 happens next? I hope this new Rajiv Varnapa nonsense stops after Shishji's clarification. I don't know what the clarification is, Simon, so I can't say. Man, so is Wesley foreign player? I don't know which player you mean. Do these academies get any money from transfers like in world football? Or, I mean, I'm aware most of the times the players move on free transfer. Still, do they? Most of them don't know. There is an AFF compensation program. I don't know how good it works at the moment. Tata Football Academy done for significantly impacted in football massively. So departure of Ranjan Chaudhuri, and so that's the reality. So for 10 years, FSL runs ISL clubs don't need to do anything in that period. What does clubs do? They produce good players. They invest in grassroots, etc. Just spending big money in first team. Yeah, Vikram, well summed up what the problem was. But the problem is also, if you ask me, if you're managing a team and your owner says, you know what, we want to win titles, um, you're going to do that, right? That's the problem. I'm excited for ASEAN Cup and SAF Cup. I just got a feeling Khalid will redeem up to some extent, not saying his coaching will change from defense to attack mindset, but at least something better. You're expecting a lot. What does she clarify? I have no idea. Can we see OCI PO players in mid tools with national team? No idea. It depends on when sports passport comes into existence. Played racial abuse, doesn't and then people in Europe extroverts and players of forwards inside represent the parents' country. Roshan, yeah, some of them do, some of them don't. But yeah, racism isn't a problem. No? It's Dutch. We remember England when they didn't win the Euros. The three players who got racially abused. Sadly, the reality of our times. I'm not liking it, but that's the reality of where we are today. If I like it or not. Yeah. So let's see. Can't. So Wesley Faulkner is an origin player. Okay, Roshi. I don't know all the origin players. Because he can't represent India. Okay. Do you see my World Cup? No. It's not even happening. It's clashing with ASEAN. It's supposed to be pushed to November. This is rumor going on that Rajiv is an Indian origin player who is apparently opting for an OCI card. Does it come from the possible connection that is Indo-Sudanese? Yeah. Rajiv's great grandfather is of Indian origin. Yeah, that's I think. I don't know when he told me that many years back. I said that Rajiv Apara said that in one of his interviews that he's not linked to Indian origin by any means, and his mom said that she kept her son named Rajiv because of Rajiv Gandhi. Um, I think that 2015 interview Soham said something else. I think the 2015 interview said, I don't have any links to India. Not that I'm not linked to Indian origin. Right. I don't know what Ashish said. So, but he's one of those many Surinamese who have some sort of Indian connection. And again, if we need these second, third generation guys to come and play for us to help us improve our football, I said it at the start and I stick to it. I would take it. What are you saying that some of the football players are fraud and they just say, I've done this for Indian football, blah, blah. Yeah, what to say? Um, Everyone's saying what they want, right? So that's the problem. There are few who've done things, right? I know what I've done. Maybe they're calling me fraud. Maybe, who knows? But I know what I've done for Indian football. No one can take that away from me, and that's the problem. But sir, there is something like their parents or grandparents has to be Indian passport. Something I don't know much. Mahesh, there is this thing. Yeah, again, but India is now saying that OCIs can apply for an overseas citizen of India documentation. So therefore, there's going to be a lot of discussion. Let the governance guys sort it out at the back end. Interesting. General football fans of respective clubs seem to be kind of liberal, but when it comes to England national team, all the races just unite. They were active throughout that 2020 Euros. It's not an England problem, and I don't think club fans are liberal as well. There's a lot of racist problems in many clubs across Europe. Rushabh, no, that's not true. The only FC Saint Academy is guess who claims it. Uh, so, in your opinion, what's the roadmap for Indian football senior team? Oh, Vikram. First of all, finding the right coach would be my first step, and then figuring out, yeah, um, who to play, how to play, when to play, where to play. Right? That's for me the most important thing. We need. I don't see my problem is unlike in Europe or in other parts of the world. In India, I don't even know if certain player XYZ will be a first team player you know, in I don't know how many years. Right. If you discussed players in 2021, some of them would have disappeared by 2023, 2024. And that guy who was good in 2024 might not be around in 2026. Right. Isak Ralte to me last season would have been a player that I would said has to get a national team call up. Isak Ralte had a bad ISL, right? To just give you an example. Professional approaching sixth for fifth generation of Indians ever to enter OCI card. So Timo, that answers your question. Um, if it's sixth generation, that's a lot, but then you have to get it also cleared by FIFA. I think other national, other global sporting bodies are a little bit more lenient. Again, in certain sports, you can even change nationality. FIFA is a little stricter, but again, again the AIFF, if the AIFF is serious about OCIs, they would actually have to create a department to actually look into the matter and then get the documentation of the player sorted. Because, for example, you saw what happened in Malaysia with those things. Thoughts on Germany crashing out the World Cup? Disappointed, very disappointed. Um, Bad game from Germany against Paraguay. But again, I could have said the same thing about England against Congo, but England somehow scraped through. Germany wasn't good enough. The goal should have stood. Could have been a penalty call here and there as well. So refereeing and VR has been a problem in this tournament. So Many are still questioning whether forces will be implemented at the end. What do you think will be an eventuality? Zorawar, I said this. It'll come. Otherwise, India's Olympic bid is dead. Right? So let's be very clear. If this does not work, yeah, uh, what was that penalty has taken Senegal 100%, Aman. Tielemans is hit in his Achilles. I don't even know why the referee takes so long to look at it, so long. It's a clear-cut penalty. Again, whatever be his case, I'm tired of this player. Indian playing Indian is like they're doing is merely fan engagement without any research. Sam, a lot of people are doing it, and we've spent the whole show talking about it today. Right, a little bit here, a World Cup, a little bit of that, a little that, but de facto, nearly 2 hours of conversation was, you know. So that's the thing, right? The app for OCI player is too much now. People have started assuming that it will be 100% when coming up with best 11. Deep, again, let's wait. It's gonna happen, as I say, but we're desperate. Indian football fans are desperate because you know things are not happening in the system. And I've heard about Danis Sajo. He won league with his team. Voted second division, started all matches. Danis Sajo, no. Tell me which country? Sorry. So sir, if it's the culprit because of them, our top league was demoted to second and asked for franchise fee. Yeah. What to say, Raj? Rebel in the sense you don't see that many racist people, but I remember throughout that tournament there. Listen, Rushabh, you don't see them, but there is a lot of racism issues at some of the biggest clubs across Europe. Let's not even get into the conversation in South America what a problem it is, right? Probably England fans stood out. I mean, yeah, almost every fans that insides. Yeah. Yeah. Said that Magnum wants to sell Colossus. What are the chances of investment? Sarath, they want to sell. They're calling out a price, and I see nobody wanting to pay that much of money. Okay, Twitter people on Twitter upload your clips and back. I have to live with it. Thoughts on Klopp as next German head coach? Rishabh, I'm for it. Let's see if it happens or not. They're trying to sell Klopp for years now. Yeah, Raj, that's the reality. Let him. I don't have a problem. Again, if people want to follow me in a right way and understand what I'm trying to get across, listen, I know a lot of people don't like me. I have to live with it because I'm trying to speak the truth. I'll be honest with the things that I say, and a lot of people don't like that. A lot of people live in their la la land and want to be happy with it, right? You know, England were creating many chances, though the Congolese goalkeeper was just amazing in that first game. Germany just felt miserable. Yeah, you could say that, but again, did England have that many chances? No, they didn't, and Congo had better chances than Paraguay for a second. So if I add up the chances like this, Paraguay, Germany, and then England, Congo this way, it was a similar game at a better level. Congo was a better opponent, and interestingly, of course, an Indian origin in the mix of it to push this thing. Um, yeah, Mutusami, great player. I saw some German football content creator mentioning Germany being a laughing stock in football now. Yeah, Roshan. Some will laugh, some will, you know, make fun of you. You have to live with it, right? India needs you 5 to 12 grassroots leagues, like opening every state club academies to scout and sign these players from grassroots leagues and academies. Then any football develop to an extent. Also, age fraud will be reducing the data regarding players available from the U5 days. However, in theory, that sounds fine, but until we are gonna get there, it's gonna take time. And then he won the legal team. Bosnia. He played for India 1923. Okay, great, lovely. Yeselika was good. I hope someday Raimali will play for national team like him. Zero Roach, yeah, he was efficient in the sense, but you saw that he's not match fit, but he gave it everything. Some are not passing to World Cup, understandable. Yes, Roshan, you don't know if the ISL will happen or again, as I said, if continue things like this, the ISL will start post the elections in December, meaning in Jan, right? I forgot on an Indian player for who I say was going to sign, who was returning from low division in Spain. Was going to, I don't know, was going to sign. Okay. Don't remember who you mean, sorry. Do you think this is the best French generation in history? Oh, Sarat, always these. 1998 was an insane France team. Yeah, if you think about it. Is this better? They have to prove it. The potential is there, but they have to prove it. Lately, we're seeing a lot of foreign-born players with Indian roots popping up in the news. We know some of them have clear fluent ties through their parents or grandparents, but the ones claiming to be sixth or fifth generation is unacceptable by FIFA. Timo, it's not about them saying it. Let's wait and see who comes through. What again? Some of them, yeah. I just wonder, likes of Ishan Pandit and others who are in the audience in Spain, how come they got there and not return as finished product? Yeah, Rishabh, asking a good question. Here's the saying about Germany's performance. Not good enough. Simple as that. I think it was about listening to your statement on the national team and the 23s, blah blah. Actually, it was me who asked you to give your thoughts on Ashish video on why. Yeah, Simon, the point is to me is again, I don't have to agree. No one has to agree with me. I see it, and um, the problem is with these guys is, and my difference is, I always say, I've had the experience. I've been inside that dressing room, so I do understand a little bit of the national team, and I will be arrogant enough to say I understand it more than these guys. Right? You can cover, go around, watch, whatever you want to do, but if you've never been in that dressing room, it makes a very very difficult one. India doesn't play World Cup. Yeah, you clipped your response. Yeah. So why can't we let your friend be children? Why we obsessed with them? Sasha, good question. On the player named as Sadrik Raj, I personally know him. He plays in Central highest division of youth football in Poland. He's 16 right now. Poland at 14. Can you help? Like if knows him something like camp call? Yeah, ask him to get in touch with me. Again, as I start in January, second time in a row that because we'll get more requests. Than Roshan, I'm just saying we're heading it, with that danger. To me, that's a danger that is cropped up, and we're heading towards it. And I saw the post you made. This player, he looks good. I mean, it's rare for young players to play at decent good level. Okay, that's absolutely ridiculous. Another 4 month season will kill you football. But Sasha, what's going to happen? They've not sorted their things out. Right. Last time around, they did it because they thought there was a certain level of pressure. There's enough clubs who are not sorted, so let's wait and see. I don't think Rajapur is fourth or fifth generation, max to third. Yeah, I think third. I think fourth would be the right one. Where is? Yeah, so instead to be called out and we sued, then Modi and Afghan should sue each other each and every day. Yeah, Raj. How can I get in touch with you? Instagram, I guess, is the easiest. Yeah, my Arunfoot Instagram is the easiest. I don't think these Indian national players are accountable. They asked us why we didn't qualify Asia Cup. Yeah, so honestly, last year I was on the bandwagon of U20s until I saw that Brunei game in qualifiers in last season. How many of them got to play in the first place? My eyes was open fully. Yeah, Rushabh, sorry. So So therefore, to me, Rishabh, under 23s, as much as I would love them, again, don't get me wrong, I would love them to be successful. But when they're not good enough, and I saw some of them in England against Zimbabwe, sorry, not there. Intensity, not there. That's the same before, yeah. What goes behind the scenes is a mystery to me. Some of the stuff, what happens in dressing room needs to be in dressing room, and one needs to understand dynamics of a dressing room, a player, if she's capable of playing at that level, and the coach has to have the understanding if a player can play international football or not. And the coaches are lacking, the players are lacking, the AIFF is lacking, and therefore we are where we are. Right? So that's a conversation. Can you help me understand why India will lose the bidding rights of the this is sports person not implemented? Can you explain why asking it again? Deep, very simply, it is part of the IOC's sort of demands to a country to be open to allow players of origin or theoretically naturalized foreigners to play for you. Theoretically, because other sporting federations allow it or other sporting governing bodies allow it. Um, so therefore that's the main reason, and therefore the Indian Olympic Association as well as the sports ministry, as part of the recommendations to the PMO, have said, this is one thing that we need to implement, otherwise it will not happen. There's a player called Anand Batra playing for Fulham U18, playing in U18 Premier League, having scored 8 goals. Already he's highly rated player. So let him be successful, and then we'll see what happens. No? Right. Maybe forgot they look good because they're not playing against quality opponents. And in the last cycle, Qatar and Bahrain had such a poor match. Terrible. Rushabh, they were not good. And that's why we looked better than we are. Right. Look at the loss they had in that Tri Nation against Tajikistan. What's the issue delaying this whole agreement? Some say it's the OSI quota, some say it's the official going on holiday and only just coming back, and the more obvious financial structure. Mm, finance. To me, the AIFF's biggest problem is if the clubs guarantee you 15.4 crores, which is 1.1 crore per club, and you are getting 50, and you need to actually generate 70 crores. That's my calculation ahead. That should be what you should be earning commercially. Who's gonna get you the 50, 60 crores shortfall in the finances? Simple question. The AIFF needs to generate enough money to be able to sustain and pay its staff. Otherwise, we're in the situation, oh, you know what? We cannot start preparations. We cannot sign better foreign coaches. Um, yeah. So that's the problem, right? And if this persists, then the AIFF will cut down on state national level state competitions, on the youth leagues, on the women's side. Maybe I League 3 might get scrapped. All those things will happen because the AIFF doesn't have enough funds to run its system. What people did not recognize and realize, or doesn't want to realize or recognize, is that without the money from Reliance, those 50 crores, the AIFF ecosystem could have not been running over the last 15, 16 years. So a proposal regarding OCI is pretty logical. You might think so, but my problem is, why is Mohanbal Supergiant making a proposal to the AIFF? Why Mohanbal Supergiant is not saying, hey, listen, this is a proposal I sent to all the clubs. Okay, listen, the clubs send it to the AIFF and say, listen, this is a proposal originally from Mohanbal Supergiant. We've amended it a little and now we're sending it to you. That would have been the best way. Why are the clubs communicating themselves with the AIFF? It's not helping, right? So that's the problem. So reality of things. So yeah. So therefore, for me, yeah, it's very, very difficult. And let's see. That's my question. I mean, yeah, if you're going to Spain at 18, 19, not going to be developed, you're already way behind, which begs me another question. How do these players go to Spain? Like a guy whom I played was talented, didn't play I League, he's in Spain. Pay to play, Rushabh. There are pay to play models with lower division clubs who don't have enough money. And if someone says, hey, listen, I want to play for you, give money. That's how most of the Indian boys have gone to Europe at the moment. Boys and girls, actually, to be honest. At youth level and some even at senior level playing fifth, sixth tier. Because these smaller clubs allow that. Right? That's part of the problem. Right. 2 hours and 9 minutes. Wow. Didn't realize that this was so long tonight. So we will want to come to an end of this Indian football and more discussion. Yeah, we had a lot of on OCIs and PIOs. I know that topic will crop up again and again. Sasha was here in the chat today. I've done an interview with him about his pathway as a Indian coach um, in Europe. He's been coaching in Finland. We speak about his story, his journey as a coach. That's coming out tomorrow morning. So do watch that. And yeah, we'll certainly try and see, you know, if it's good enough. But yeah, it's good, Rushabh. But ask them if these boys are playing regularly in that level. So that's the other problem, right? Good night, Rushabh. Good night, Ravan. And I'll take this as last one from Raj. Nowadays, there's a problem with people. If someone is I support Kalina for something which has info, but they declare you the agents. Yeah, that's That's the problem, right? When you defend FSD and say, hey, listen, they did some good, then they say you're bad. If you do, then we are in a very weird scenario, guys. Simon, good night as well to you. Good night to everyone. Thanks for joining in. If you haven't, do leave a like behind. Share with other people to join, because I think we had a very interesting discussion on that OCIPAO thing. And let's speak. Most probably I won't do something tomorrow, most probably on Saturday, and keep watching the World Cup. It's in a little while, Spain versus Austria, and we'll enjoy it. And Sasha, thanks a lot. It was a pleasure as well. And Sasha's interview is coming out tomorrow. Do watch that. Very insightful. And I'll speak to you very soon again. Bye and good night.